Jasmine Crockett, the representative from Dallas, Texas, who is not as she seems, right? She tells us she's the girl from the hood, but she grew up with a kind of affluent middle class, upper middle class background, going to fancy schools and all that. Jasmine Crockett is seeing her way right out of D.C. And you know what? This is actually healthy for the Democrat Party. I'll tell you that. Because they don't need the Jasmine Crockett's of the world. They don't really like her, by the way. They use her because she's good for fundraising, apparently. But they don't really like her because they know that this kind of image and this kind of language really isn't appropriate for the Democrat Party. Again, I want to get to this map. This is what's going on, okay? So they're taking the opportunity. They've got the ball. They're going to run with it. They're in Texas, the Republicans, and they're going to redistrict just the way California's redistrict, just the way Illinois has redistrict, just the way Massachusetts has redistrict. You know, I'm not saying two wrongs make a right, but here we go. Right now, in the here and now, you've got a situation where, hey, they've had their opportunity, right? And they've run it and they've redistricted everything. They've gerrymandered their way in such that, you know, it's really hard to have fair and equal representation as a Republican in Washington, D.C. So now Republicans in Texas are like, we want these 5 seats. You got California totally losing it. You've got Ken Paxton saying, hey, I'm going to back up the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. You know, Hot Wheels. Jasmine called him Hot Wheels. Well, he said, I'm going to fire y'all. And Ken Paxton, as we speak, is seeking the judicial authority to be able to do it because, you know, you don't show up for work, you're not going to get your seat. So he could actually conceivably nominate, Greg Abbott could, the governor of Texas, nominate a whole bunch of people. You know, again, I just say she's not great for the party. In some ways, Abbott is doing the Democrat Party a total favor because do you really want this? You know, this woman who's known for her bleach bit nonsense?
Ms. Green, for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's?
It's me.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a part
I'm
of it.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike those
I had no idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You
that.
just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this is what
wanted
y'all
to get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying to get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Ms.
I
Crockett.
can't hear you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a
Mr.
problem.
Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
Chair.
I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes.
Yeah, that was a really bad moment. That was a really, really bad moment for U.S. politics in general. And I didn't even realize there was an obscenity in there, but I should have, because you know what? This woman, Jasmine Crockett, can't keep her mouth clean. And it's an act. All right, just keep in mind, we're going to get into that because I want to kind of school you a little bit on her background and where she came from and how this whole appearance of being somehow from the wrong side of the tracks is not entirely, it's not at all true. Okay, it's not at all true. So she's the girl from the hood who, by the way, her own staff now cannot stand, and they're recognizing that she is nothing but a social media you-know-what. She wants to be an influencer, okay? So she wants to have a podcast, I guess. I don't think she could. I don't think she could actually string an argument together and have A, B, C, and D in some kind of conclusion or thesis, but who knows? The woman did go to a fancy law school that cost somewhere around $60K a year. She did go to fancy private schools to the tune of $30,000, $35,000 a year. So she's certainly been well educated. Not that she's doing anything with the education, let's be honest, given what she's proceeded to do in Congress. So she's kind of an embarrassment. She's a disgrace, if you would, for the Democrat Party, but they're stuck with her until now. So I think they owe Ken Paxton and Greg Abbott a gigantic thank you note and a whole bunch of flowers, because Texas may just actually take this woman off their hands. So there's a lot of procedural stuff that has to happen. And so we don't want to count our chickens, right, before they hatch, so to speak. But the new map is being designed to really combat some of the things that California, Massachusetts, Illinois, even New Hampshire have done in the last however many years. When you look at the numbers, it's kind of stunning. I was looking at this, somebody put this out on social media just within the last 24 hours, and these numbers are really quite something to see. So let me see if I can bring them to you. So if this is correct, then basically you're looking at a situation where I guess the Democrats have frankly already gerrymandered Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, Hawaii, Delaware. They don't have any seats in these places. How can you have a state that is 42% Republican and not have any seats? It's remarkable to me. Or New Hampshire, which is basically half Republican, and not have any seats at all? Well, they only have a few congressional reps there, but Rhode Island, another great example of this. So what is going on? The gerrymandering has already happened, right? And so now suddenly you've got Republicans that are willing to fight back because they need to hold on to Congress, right? It's a big deal. They want to hold on to Congress because if they don't, then I'll tell you, it's going to be really ugly. And you know how I know it's going to be really ugly? I know it's going to be ugly because these guys want to impeach Donald Trump again. They tried 3 times before, right? So why not? If they get the House, that's where we're right back at. And so that would not be a good thing. I think Donald Trump now is suddenly realizing he can't be on defense. He knew that going in. His team knew that going in. He can't be on defense. He's got to be on offense. So if he's out there on offense, this is the way you do it. Meanwhile, California's freaking out. Oh my goodness, wait till you see what the governor of California is saying. But before we get to that, remember Jasmine, okay? Jasmine, who I predict is going to be over. I just don't think she's got the stamina, frankly. I think she'd rather be a social media influencer. I'm not the only one. The staff apparently thinks that. I think she'd rather be an MSNBC anchor. I don't think she could actually hold a podcast because there's some heavy lifting over here. Okay, guys, this is all me, right? So the editorial responsibility of doing something like I'm doing right now would be too difficult, shall we say, for somebody, and too much work, I suspect, for the likes of Jasmine Crockett, who wants to ride around in a SUV driven by her staff all the time. So she needs lots of staff and apparently doesn't treat the staff very, very well. Jasmine Crockett, after that bleach bit thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, wound up on our favorite show, kidding, The View, where she was asked about it because you know what she did? She went out and trademarked that term and then started selling T-shirts. Yeah, selling T-shirts, coined a new phrase about it, the whole bit, right? Oh, well, simultaneously criticizing Trump for some of the commercial efforts he has undertaken. So the hypocrisy is just pretty stunning. But, this is what you should expect from a woman like this. Again, I'm predicting here that her career is over and that the Republicans are doing this, but really Democrats should be sending a thank you note because you don't need any more of this. Take a look.
You have fundraised off of merchandise around this, and you've gotten some pushback from people saying, are we just lowering the institution if we're both kind of playing into this? How do you respond to that?
Kind of like the audience just did. Listen, here's the deal. There are people such as Trump that want to peddle Bibles, peddle gym shoes, peddle whatever it is, and anything that he can sell, he's going to sell it. And he's not doing it for his party. He's doing it for self. So what she meant for evil, in my opinion, God meant for good. And so that's what I was going to do in that moment. Yeah. When I set out to do the trademark, that is not personally done. It's done under the campaign. It was because there was a demand. I'm a business major who also is a lawyer. So the two things came together, right? Yeah. So this is about making sure that we can raise the monies. It's so that I can help save our democracy. My money goes to frontliners, people that are in fights to make sure that we can take the House. Yeah. We've seen that the House has been run like a circus. Yes. We need Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. Right. And so if they lose the House, I'm just go ahead and blame it on Marjorie.
Okay, yeah, so back to Marjorie, right? Because there's this thing between the two of them. Well, Marjorie did criticize her fake eyelashes, which was understandably warranted. And she fired back with, the bleach bit nonsense. Anyway, bleach butch, we just have to be able to follow her lingo. But apparently she spends all her time thinking up these things in order to kind of create a social media storm because that's what she's interested in doing. All while now we got this crisis of sorts going on, in that it's really, really important, I kid you not, that the Republicans secure the House in 26. And one of the ways to do this is to redistrict in Texas, much like they did in California. Again, it's sort of payback. And this team in the White House now is on offense. They're not on defense. So this is a different kind of thing. Well, Governor Newsom is flipping out about this. This is Texas versus California, you guys. And he put this one out. It's kind of funny. I was reading some of his tweets and I'm like, excuse me, is this some kind of, I don't know, flattery for President Trump? They do say imitation is a form of flattery, right? Take a look at this tweet, this social post on X. He wrote in all capital letters, final warning, Donald Trump, maybe the most important warning in history. Stop cheating or California will redraw the maps. And guess who will announce it next week? Gavin Newsom, many say the most loved and handsome governor, and a very powerful team. Don't make us do it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so is it playful? Is it funny? Or is it just annoying? I mean, it's amazing how he's just trying to challenge. Like, he took what he wanted to say and he put it into ChatGPT and he said, hey, sound like Donald Trump, and they spit this thing back out. So I think that Newsom is now looking at this and he's kind of freaking out. He's trying to say, okay, we can go back and we can do something. But I got to tell you guys, I don't think they can do a lot. I don't think they can do a lot. I want to show you what Greg Abbott is saying on this. He went on to CNN recently, spoke with that, if you want to call him an anchor, I don't know what you want to call him, the Tapper guy, that came out with the book because he's always looking to cash in and make a good payday. The one that's friends with Clooney that tried to take down Lara Trump and say that, Joe Biden just had a stutter and how dare she make fun of kids and people with stutters. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, Abbott went on with him and he basically sent a really big warning to the state of California. And this is important because if you listen to Abbott, there's no way in HELL that Gavin Newsom and California are going to win this battle. Abbott has it locked up. Watch.
As a bigger picture item, which is what's unusual about this is that you're attempting to do it in 2025 as opposed to waiting till the end of the decade, as normally is when the redistricting takes place. You've explained the Supreme Court decision that led you to do this. But what's going on, obviously, is not happening in Texas. It's not happening in a vacuum. We have Democrats in California and New York and other states saying, well, if Governor Abbott does this in Texas, we're going to add 5 Democratic seats. Are you not worried at all about a redistricting, gerrymandering arms race going on? And theoretically, is it not just better for voters to be picking their politicians instead of politicians to be picking their voters through gerrymandering?
Well, to be clear, listen, all those big blue states, they've already gerrymandered. Look at the map of Illinois. Look at the map of California, New York, and Massachusetts, and so many other blue states. They gerrymandered a long time ago. They got nothing left with regard to what they can do. And know this, if California tries to gerrymander 5 more districts, listen, Texas has the ability to eliminate 10 Democrats in our state. We can play that game more than they can because they have fewer Republican districts in their states.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
You see that? And he's right. They can play that game a whole lot longer and harder than California possibly could, because they have already in California gone about as far as they can go. So this is a big deal. Okay, like we're talking about changing the map here, and I get it. People are frustrated. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? But I'll tell you, how dare you just leave the state of Texas? 50 of them, 50 Democrats, just took off and said, you know what, we're not going to do this. And they're not actually sitting down to try and negotiate or get anything done. And so, listen. Abbott and Paxton are totally right to say, hey, guys, you're going to be fired. Jasmine Crockett, you're going to be fired. You don't show up for work, that's not going to fly. You are going to be done.